Hello, this is Dr. Brenda Bowers with Vessels of Honor Church and a Word for You Inc. at Vessels of Honor Church. I am the co-founder there along with Apostle Bill Bowers and a Word for You. I am the founder and the chief executive officer there. And we are so excited to be sharing with you some tidbits from Passion Week 2020. And today is day 6. It's Friday, and we often refer to Friday as Good Friday. Day 6 encompasses so much that I just want to give you a high-level overview, and I use a resource that I found from escapetoreality.org. The Good Friday timeline, starting at midnight, going all the way through 7 p.m. This is when many churches have Good Friday night services, and we go over those last 7 sayings of Jesus on the cross. And I hope you are engaging in that with your own congregations, whether face to face or virtually, as we continue to contend with the pandemic, even though more people are being vaccinated. And we see our numbers, they were going down, now they're starting to creep up again. But what we know is that we are covered in the blood of Jesus. So as we look at this timeline on day 6, Friday, where much has happened, and we see here, starting from Jesus being arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, all the way to the day ending and the Sabbath beginning, which will be tomorrow as we cover day 6. So let me, as fast as I can, while yet giving some credence to each of these critical times, go through it's Friday, but Sunday is coming. I promise you, Sunday is closer than it was when we started last Sunday at Palm Sunday, saying next Sunday was on the way. So at 12 midnight, we see Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. He's betrayed with a kiss from Judas. He's arrested by a large crowd of armed soldiers and officials sent by the chief priests and the Pharisees. And when Jesus identified himself to the mob, which he did, they fell down under the power of God. Peter strikes a servant from the high priest, cutting off a right ear. Jesus rebukes Peter, heals the injured servant, and the soldiers seize Jesus and bind him. His disciples desert him and flee from him. His disciples desert him and flee from him. This is how Friday starts when the clock strikes midnight. At 1 a.m, Jesus is taken to Annas, a former high priest. Annas questions Jesus and then sends him, he's bound still, to Caiaphas, his son-in-law and the current high priest. At 3 a.m, at the house of Caiaphas, the Sanhedrin, the ruling council of 70 men, they had assembled themselves together, and Jesus was made to endure this sham trial, and we know it was. Many false witnesses make accusations, they lie, and Jesus doesn't say anything. And then finally, Caiaphas says, I command you to tell us if you are the Son of God. I command you. But remember, we've already dealt on Thursday with Jesus giving a new commandment to his people. And Jesus breaks his silence and he said, you have said so, but I say to all of you that from now on, you will see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of God. Well, that's enough for Caiaphas, and he tears his robe, he accuses Jesus of blasphemy, and he convinces the Sanhedrin to condemn him to death. The guards blindfold Jesus, they spit on him, they beat him at 5 a.m. outside the courtyard. Peter's recognized by several people as a follower of Jesus, but Peter did what Jesus told him he would do, and that he said he would never do. He vigorously denies Jesus 3 times, and then he heard that cock crow, just like Jesus said he would. At 6 a.m, lacking the authority to put Jesus to death, the Sanhedrin then set out to enlist the aid of the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate, which is how he gets involved. Jesus is led away. He looks directly at Peter in the courtyard. As he walks by, Peter flees. He's weeping bitterly because he did what he said he would never do. But Peter is in the flesh, just like us. Our flesh is not our friend. Oh, I have a whole different message and a personal testimony and experience to validate that being true. And Jesus, too, having learned that Jesus had been condemned to death, then he's very remorseful. He tried to return the money that he was paid, but he couldn't. And Judas subsequently hung himself. Going through this timeline, 6:30 in the morning, the rulers take Jesus to the governor's residence. Since they refuse to enter the palace, Pilate comes out to meet them. Pilate asks the Jews, "What charges do you have against this man?" And the Jews make a number of vague accusations. He's a criminal, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't be here. By 6:45, we see this moving super fast from a judicial system standpoint. Pilate takes Jesus inside and he questions him privately. And he said, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And Jesus said, "If you say so." Pilate repeats the trumpeted up charges of Jews and he asks, "How do you defend yourself?" Jesus didn't say anything. Pilate is stumped. He has been given no evidence to condemn Jesus, but after learning that Jesus is a Galilean, Pilate sends him to Herod of Antipas, the ruler of Galilee, who happened to be in Jerusalem for the Passover. By 7:30 in the morning, Herod had heard much about Jesus, and he's pleased with him in person. Herod hopes to see Jesus perform a miracle. Herod questions him at length, but Jesus won't say anything in reply. The chief priests and law teachers vehemently accuse Jesus of doing wrong, and Herod mocks Jesus, dresses him in an elegant robe before sending him back to Pilate. So now here we are at 8:30, this whole long process, just trying to get Jesus to the cross. They are trying to accuse him, but this is very hard because they're going through this legislative system. At 8:30, Pilate tells the chief priests and the rulers that neither he nor Herod have found any evidence of the charges they have made against Jesus. "I find no fault in him at all," Pilate said. The governor said that he will punish Jesus, then release him in accordance with the Passover custom. But stirred up by the chief priests and the elders, the mob shouts for the release of a notorious criminal by the name of Barabbas. Pilate receives a message from his wife. "Have nothing to do with this innocent man, Pilate." Pilate tried 3 times to release Jesus, but the mob remained insistent. Now here we are by 9 o'clock in the morning, and we see, fearing a riot, that Pilate releases Barabbas, and he sends Jesus to the praetorium to have him scourged. The soldiers twist a crown of thorns and put it on Jesus' head. Pilate presents the bloody Jesus to the crowd, saying, "Behold the man." The chief priests and the rulers whip him. Whip the crowd into a frenzy. "Crucify, crucify." "Why? What crime has been committed?" Pilate said. But the mob shouted all the louder, "Crucify, crucify." Again, Pilate refuses and retreats into his residence to question Jesus further. But the Jews at his door will not go away. "If you release this man who claims to be a king, you are no friend of Caesar." So by 10 o'clock, Pilate brings Jesus outside, sits in the judgment seat. "Shall I crucify your king?" he asks. "We have no king but Caesar," the chief priest replied. When Pilate sees that he is getting nowhere, he washes his hands in front of the crowd and he says, "I am innocent of this man's blood." The Jews reply, "Let his blood be on us and on our children." Whew. How we see the fury of flesh rising up and speaking a curse even unto generations. So finally, Pilate condemned Jesus to death. And at 10:15, the events then start to move swiftly. The soldiers take charge of Jesus. They lead him to Golgotha, which we call Calvary. Jesus carried his cross at least part of the way. And then we see someone helping to carry his cross. John of Arimathea, a great or a unknown man actually carrying, helping him to carry his cross. At 11 o'clock, Jesus is stripped of his garments and he's crucified between two thieves. Jesus prays, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. Pilate has a notice of the charge fastened to the cross that reads, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. The religious leaders and passersby continue to mock and jeer at Jesus. And now we're at noon. All of that happened before we get to that 12 o'clock prayer that many of us will be having on Good Friday, day 6, this day. Some of you may be listening to this after you've had that noon prayer or even after your last 7 sayings service. But at noon, from about the 6th hour to the 9th hour, darkness blankets the land. 3 p.m., realizing that his mission is complete, we hear Jesus say, it is finished. Then he calls out in a loud voice, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. And he breathes his last breath in that body that he put on for me and for you. At that moment, the temple curtain is torn from top to bottom. The earth shakes and the rocks split, tombs open, and many resurrected saints come walking out and enter into the city where they were seen by many people. Roman soldiers are guarding Jesus. They're terrified and they exclaim, surely he was the Son of God. Well, a little too late now, right? Meanwhile, many women, followers of Jesus, stand watching at a distance. And at 4 o'clock, not wanting these bodies, not wanting 3 bodies to be left hanging on crosses during the Sabbath, the religious leaders asked Pilate to have them taken down to hasten the death of the 2 thieves. The soldiers break their legs, but Jesus is found to already be dead. The soldier pierces Jesus' side with a spear, and we know that one of those 2 thieves said, remember me in paradise. Remember me. And Jesus said, you will be with me today in paradise. At 4:30, Joseph of Arimathea, a prominent member of the Sanhedrin and a secret follower of Jesus, he successfully petitioned Pilate for the release of the body of Jesus Christ. And at 5 o'clock, with the Sabbath very quickly approaching, Joseph hastily wraps the body of Jesus in linen cloth and lays it nearby the tomb. The women disciples follow Joseph. Then they return home to prepare spices and perfumes. They plan to return to the tomb after the Sabbath, which would have to be on Sunday morning. Remember, this is day 6. It's Friday, but Sunday is coming. At 7 p.m., as the sun sets, the day ends and the Sabbath begins. The chief priests congratulate themselves for eliminating the threat of Jesus, while Pilate in his palace is pleased that law and order have been restored in time for the Passover to happen in peace. In a locked room, fearful disciples mourn the loss of their Lord and the death of their dreams. For the second time, darkness falls all over the city. But among the few who have eyes to see it, there is a growing sense that all is not lost and that this evil day may yet turn out to be good. Though they can't explain it in their heart of hearts, they can't explain it. They feel that everything has changed and something inside of them thought actually for the better. So as we see now at 4:30, and we see the sun has set at 7, the day ends, the Sabbath begins, and those chief priests were congratulating themselves. And I want to show you something here. From Good Friday, we see what has started. We see the body was laid in the tomb, starting at 9 in the morning, starting at 8 in the morning, when Pilate condemned Jesus to death. We see Jesus was crucified. We see that Jesus died and darkness was all over the entire land. And Jesus's body was laid in the tomb. I'm here to tell you it's Friday. It's day 6, but Sunday is coming. Please make sure to like, to share, and to subscribe. DOH Mequon and a Word for You Inc. Make sure that you're following us, whether it's on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, on our Zoom channels. We are here to deliver to you the Passion Week 2021, day 6. Until soon, love and peace.